Dude, that's why you're here,
Oh,
just to carry everything.
Are these like Christmas presents?
This is what the Corvette has to run off.
Oh. Corona, the COVID.
Yeah, we're
running off the old Corona 19.
We're out of ethanol.
Dude, did you get a haircut?
Yeah, on Sunday. That was my like refresh day.
Whoa. Speed. Yeah, so Chris made it pretty far with Ziad from Dubai.
That guy just literally took over. And he was helping us at like,
Said he would.
it was like 2 o'clock in the morning his time, and he was helping us out. But he said everything that like we were fighting with was like, he's like, that's normal, yep, I understand, like we understand this is what's going on here and there and everything, so made Chris feel a little bit better.
Yeah, because I was talking to Nasser, a longtime FDF driver and product runner. He was like, Ziad is your guy. It's crazy how many guys we've found, but I mean, the relationships that we've built from all of these problems are probably going to be like forever.
Yeah. Other than that, we've done fluid checks, everything else, so like torque the wheels, do a once over again underneath, but other than that, yeah.
We do have to do a very slight toe alignment in the rear, so the toe arms are loose, but everything else should be tight. We are here for part 3 of the dynoing the Corvette at Josh's shop. We did have to go home, take a break, and step away from the car just because of scheduling and some of the complications that we ran into. Basically, this entire car is built up of 500 plus prototype parts where everything is a first time for us, the car, and everybody else involved. So today is dyno day. We have confidently put in a base tune. We've confidently set up the PDMs so that everything's controlled properly through the CAN network. And there was a lot of learning going on, like I said, but everything is running pretty perfectly now. John over at BMS Tuning is getting ready for us, and we're just waiting on Chris to show up to button up some wiring, and we're gonna be rolling this car over on the dyno. So thank you to all my sponsors and everybody that helped out with doing this. We put in somewhere between 15 and 20-hour days each day that we were here, and the day has finally come where we're gonna dyno it, get the numbers officially for this NA monster, and then bring it home to finalize the panels and get this car ready for competition, which ultimately, this is a function over form build, although we want it to look as good as possible. And naturally, as you make components perform well, they generally look good. So yeah, let's hope for a good session and make for some fantastic content.
Looks like Joel's electric engine.
Is this your engine?
Yeah, that's the supercharger for my electric.
It's actually a turbojet. He said he gets some of the components made in Canada, the box, I believe. So this is a cool box, basically eliminating the need to ever put ice into a container and then pump through the water. What happened in Florida especially, the water would last maybe 20 minutes, and then you're just pumping warm water, or what felt like was warm water, through a suit. The way the lines connected and the way that it was all done was just not that convenient. So this is a high-end, high-quality cool box made by the company Coolbox. They are a relatively new company, but they're starting off investing in high-quality products right off the bat. So they're doing everything right. They're making a lot of things themselves, which is important when you're doing that, especially in the early stages where you control all of the quality control. Right off the bat, really impressed with everything so far. This is going to be mounted right back here in this area. Essentially, I just need to make this pan again, but with a slightly wider cutout, and then it'll actually drop in to my little box. I have tons of room there. Other than the top of this, it'll be pretty much completely concealed. And then the intake and exhaust is actually going to be fairly open to atmosphere, basically. I am excited to do that, to use this unit, because it's taken for granted when you think of driving and how your health is related to performance. Really important to stay cool and be comfortable in the car, because if you're overheating and sweating and getting fatigued, you are just going to not perform as well. Really happy to be working with Coolbox, and I'm going to showcase how good their product is. The shirt and stuff is really nice too. They have like more rungs of tubing, so it's gonna cool a lot better, but you'll see us hook it up, mount it in there, and all that stuff.
I got an email confirmation from them right after I messaged you.
Red twist is power.
Yeah, so I've already got your power lead dropped out the back here. So I just literally need to tap into that. So I'll cut this harness back to length, tap it in so you don't have a nasty pigtail in the back. This portion needs to go into the cab plate.
Yeah.
So the PDM, you're gonna have a button on the PDM to actually activate the entire system so you don't have just useless current draw.
Yeah.
And then this has your compressor and your pump button controls for the suit.
Got it.
So we just need to pass that cable through, so we can either do a 4-pin bulkhead or we can just do a notch at the bottom. The notch is going to be way faster. The bulkhead gives you a little bit of serviceability so you don't have to pull the firewall to get everything out. And it also means we can chop down this lead to length so we don't have a coil sitting behind your
If
seat.
you're doing this, we can do that.
Okay, so do you want to do bulkhead then?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got you on a start-stop function on here too. 500 RPM kicks in.
It'll shut off.
It should shut off automatically. And then the green button underneath it is still your ECU shut off. You can do your coast out now and keep all your fans live. Water pump should be on with it as well, yeah. I told them fans, water pump, and front fans as well. That way everything is cooling at the same time. Power steering is going to be an automatic kick on with RPM.
Which then, because you had the problem with the S14, if the engine dies, it should be latching. So as soon as it comes on, it just stays on until the car is physically shut
That was
down.
a huge problem. If you stall the car out and the
you
power
have no
steering
power
shuts
steering.
off,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
takes like 10 seconds for the pump to charge back up. I had to kickstart the car because I killed it level braking behind Cletus. And when it kicked back on, I had no power steering.
This button board right now is full. So that's why we're just doing an ECU setup parameter. So it doesn't kick on until you're started. That way you don't have a 70 amp draw while you're trying to restart.
Inside the parameter, you can have it not shut off until you kill the whole car.
Yeah, we should be able to figure something out there. I mean, as a temporary setup to get us through the day, we've got absolutely everything we need. And if that's the only little bug we got to work out.
Just casually, like, so nonchalant about that.
I felt it going, so I pulled my foot
drove over pretty well.
Yeah. Super smooth.
Yeah.
How to drive, man?
Dude, it drove like a Cadillac, man. It was like, clutch was nice and soft, power steering feels great. Like, I mean, usually when you're turning really tight and the diff is locking up, it's like hard on the engine to go, but just let the clutch out, it just kind of goes around. It was honestly easier than the S14.
Yeah.
I said that's the easiest move over on a brand new build we've had. Go, let's eat and go have some fun. That was 6,000 RPM partial throttle, and everyone's deaf now. Huh?
You say something?
Bottom big drawer of the toolbox.
So what's he saying, Joel? What do we have to do, man?
We gotta change the gear ratio.
That way it's hopping and skipping?
Yeah, he wants to go to 3.5. It's got a 410 in it right now.
Right.
So let's change her up a little bit. He said bottom drawer.
Dude, it's not that heavy.
It's so heavy.
It is. Going to the tallest gear possible, it's really difficult to drive. Everything's just so twitchy and touchy with the small flywheel, really hopped up, big cams. It's just really jerky. So we're going to the longest gear that we can. It's going to give us a longer graph and more data as well. It's a lot easier to dyno a car that has a nice tall gear. So we're just going to swap to our longest gear.
Are they roasting you over here?
No, it's the header they're roasting. Because he's like, oh, we gotta pull a plug to check it. I knew that was coming, but I just don't want to do it because it's hot as a fucking toaster.
We just did a gear change to a longer gear for a better tune. Gonna top it up with some max gear, Royal Purple.
What's the concern right now?
That we're spinning on the dyno.
Oh, okay.
Because the car comes in fast, right? So you're trying to get all that momentum spinning.
Uh, 1.6 kilo ohms, which is nothing by comparison to what we had.
Wow.
On a full length plug.
Like 4 feet. All right, guys, so we decided to sell the Corvette. We're going with this instead. Big chrome guy, big American racing, big into drag. We're done with drifting. Little update. We saw a drop on the graph, which didn't correspond with anything that we were seeing. We did see some slip on the rollers. We tightened that down, but there is some form of drop, and we believe that it's the resistance in the plug wires. So we checked the ohm resistance. Half of them are measuring over the allowable limit for a spark plug wire. So with that said, John happened to have a ICT billet kit up in his loft, and we checked the resistance on those. They come as a kit, a buildable kit starting at 4 feet long each. Even at 4 feet long, they were reading lower resistance than the wires that are actually on my car, which are only about 2 feet long. So we're gonna remake them all, swap them all out, and we shouldn't be seeing that drop anymore. Big shout out to Link ECU and everyone that uses their stuff and tunes, and all you great guys. We had Justin from Link, we had Jason from Link give us a call. We had Ziad, who's from Dubai, Nasser, and we've got Daryl from New Zealand. All of you guys played a huge role. Even Jimmy Oakes offered to go live with us and help with tuning. We had a bunch of guys jumping in and helping with getting this set up and the PDMs working. Ziad actually sent us over a whole PDM file after we gave him our layout, and he programmed the touchpad for everything that we needed. We loaded in his file and literally worked perfectly. So really impressive stuff. All of these, not issues, but challenges that we came across is basically building our network of people for long-lasting relationships. Like, I have connections as well, so any one of these guys ever needs anything from me, it's going to be a real easy yes to whatever they need. We're just taking a little break while we don't only have one set of spark plug pliers, so Chris is going hard on that, and we should be on the rollers again soon, really soon. So that's a little update.
I'm thinking too. Yeah. Did we change the sensor, or did we change it and set the depth? Okay, well, let's do another hit and let's see what we look like, because to me it looks like we're down a hole on the power. Maybe, yeah. The plug looks good, yeah. Every single plug looks the same. Okay, well, let's try it like this and see if we see anything, Dominic, and we'll give you a call back. I appreciate the second set of eyes, brother.
Thanks, Dom.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
See ya. Thank you. All right, let's see that cylinder.
Yeah, this one was a little on the leaner side. The previous one was on the richer side. Literally give a flying.
No, I didn't.
I think I took 2 degrees out. I think I'm gonna put 2 degrees more.
Yeah.
Like these heads, like we never work with these heads.
No, I don't know.
And timing is generally based off the head.
Yeah.
The distance between them.
Exactly.
200. So that does work. You just don't turn the ignition on.
Okay, we have compression.
On 8. Let's try another one.
So the only thing missing is that back section has to be hung up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
P-clips.
Yeah, so I've got like -6 line holders.
Yep.
So the original thought, given that I would have had time to do it, they're too loose like this, but if you use half, and then I was gonna bolt them through the bulkhead and use them, or the firewall and use them as a clamp.
Yeah.
Just nut and bolt it, that way it holds everything flat, and you can stagger them so that you can anchor all 3 lines together because you have your 2 power leads plus your harness. So as long as there's room underneath there, otherwise it'll be 2 on top of each other and the third one kind of straight. It's a time dependency thing. So if I have a little bit more downtime tonight, my wife's not looking for me yet, I can do that. But otherwise, everything else is wrapped and set, finalized.
Fantastic, dude. 180.
It's like almost 200.
Well, the probe has changed. We got the new tune in there. Let's see if it likes the timing.
It doesn't. Then where are we going?
Back to ignition. Going somewhere.
like 7 degrees. You want to make it ping and then just pull it back a bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. How's the cookie, dude?
These are pretty good.
Let's go.
Sharpies, man. Can't go wrong.
I'll grab one.
That's how we make all the power right here. You put a solid jug of that in there. So you put all the timing in it.
Oh, okay, okay. Are you gonna tell them that?
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna tell them. I'm gonna put it in.
It's a secret.
Just put it in.
secret.
Yeah.
Are we
You start falling over,
then no?
then no. But if it wants to keep going. Okay, so we take 2. We were down on power. John went in conservative. Oh, never mind. I can't do it.
Hi. Okay, Pat.
Scene. Oh yeah.
What happened?
It wasn't making any power. So before we started throwing timing and fuel and stuff out, we want to make sure the engine's okay. So check valve lash, because it's a solid roller motor this time instead of a hydraulic motor. So valve lash was all good. Check plugs, need a new set of wires, making sure not dropping ignition. And what else did we do?
Compression test.
Compression test. Adjusted the EGTs, everything checks out. So the engine itself is in really good shape. So now we more or less just need to figure out what the tune likes. So
We actually had a bad probe on cylinder 8, which wasn't and far enough in the cylinder. That wasn't even it. The probe had so many bends in it to avoid a water line that I think it was actually just not reading.
So it was showing like 200 degrees less. So
500.
500 degrees. So of course we want to make sure that cylinder's not hurt.
But then when we checked it with the heat gun, the laser, it was reading fine. So really what this engine needed was just way more timing than what we're used to, but this is the first combo of this big of a cam and heads and all that stuff.
Yeah, everything is so new on this and so experimental for us. There's lots of guys that have done similar combos. John was being conservative, which I'm happy for because it's an expensive engine, and we're just in uncharted territory, so we didn't have as much timing in it as the motor would like. The other problem is we had a slight issue with the EGT probe, which was giving us a low reading for temperature on one cylinder. So then at that point, you start wondering, why is it low? So we changed out the probe, but in that same time, we did a compression check to make sure everything was good. And I even went through and checked all the lashing of the valves, being a solid roller. You have to check that once in a while. So here we are now. John put more timing in it, and it's starting to smooth up.
Are
you cutting it on, like you're just gonna cut it right there and weld it on right there?
Is E-tape any good for you?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that thing's never coming off.
He's gonna pre-weld a V-band to a 4-inch piece.
Yep.
We should give him a length before he does that.
But there's no chance
just
it'll
no,
go back on.
you'll never get it
No.
back on. Just
Yeah.
weld it in place. I'll lay under it. We'll whatever.
What are you gonna do? Just cut it like
Wherever
here
4
somewhere?
inches is.
Even go bigger because we can always expand the 4-inch if we have to.
If we have a fire blanket for this stuff.
Make sure that's
See if I have a V-band. If not, I'll cut this off on the lathe and weld it on it.
Okay, so we're just pushing. Oh, let's. It's a full start. Yeah, let's go. It's just about took off. Dude, that was easy.
Oh no, Jack.
Yeah, dude.
We gotta do an update.
Why'd you cut it, man?
Okay, so based off of prior experience, we see on the graph this engine package should be taking this engine and the chart up past 7, past 75, past 8, maybe up to 8,500 RPM and still gain. And we're seeing the graph plateau, and then at some point it actually around just over 7,000 starts to go flat and then down a little bit. What this tells the story is that the airflow is being restricted somehow. We know it's not the heads and we know it's not the intake. Going out on a whim and saying that it's the exhaust. The theory behind it is that the 3.5 to 4-inch Venturi effect, what do they call those?
transitions.
It's been a long day. So the 3.5 to 4-inch transition is supposed to draw exhaust gases out and create a Venturi effect, pull the exhaust, but it's not working. So the theory is that there's not enough distance between the exhaust port and the collector and then the transition for the exhaust gases to fully merge and then have enough room to allow for some form of compression, because it's such a short run. And if one stroke is going and the other one's trying to exhaust, it's just going to disrupt everything. So we're opening it up. We're going from a 3.5, cut the transition piece right off. We're going to weld a 4-inch pipe right onto it. And this is going to effectively increase the surface area by 25%. And if we see a change on the graph, then the theory is correct and we will run with improving the flow after the collector. If nothing happens, then we have some sort of a configuration problem. 4-inch there, everything's 4. Yeah, not my best work. Good work. So it's both good and bad news. The good news is that's not the problem. The bad news is I just cut up my beautiful collector.
The other good news is it still sounds sick.
It sounds cool, for sure. It's making 594 wheel. We were anticipating low to mid 7, so my S14 makes 660 wheel with way smaller heads, smaller headers, smaller intake, smaller everything. Don't know what the problem is. Could be a cam spec, but it was spec'd out by racing professionals. So all she wrote.